Have you ever looked at all these people online and asked yourself, how the do they get so rich?
It's about doing whatever it takes.
That skill set is what got me on my feet financially.
Still had this vision, and right now I'm living the exact reality.
I like to give that up. Most people like to live as comfortable slaves.
Now you have to work, because otherwise you're full of shit.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience that they all got rich from the same thing, one specific thing. Now, over the space of this and the next 3 videos, I'm gonna be pulling back the curtains and exposing exactly what these people do, how they do it, and how it guarantees that they will print millions for the rest of their lives. And how you can do it too to make sure that 2025 is the year that you 10x everything. Now you might be asking, how do I know all of this? And that's a very valid question. Well, because I've been doing this exact same thing myself. In fact, I've been doing it for 9 years. So I'm gonna be like a magician, revealing all of his tricks. And before we go any further, no, I am not selling you a course at the end of all this. But I will give you the tools you need, whether you wanna make an extra $1,000 a month or you wanna make tens of millions of dollars like these people and myself do. And most importantly, I have compiled a 20-page dissertation breaking down in excruciating detail how collectively these ultra-rich entrepreneurs have made billions of dollars using the strategy that I'm gonna reveal during this video. And for those of you who watch this first episode until the very end, I'm actually gonna send you a printable copy of this dissertation so that way you can see in detail how these individuals use the one thing to print millions of dollars for them. So with all that being said, let's get into the most direct, no bullshit YouTube video that you will watch this entire year. Now I realized something. Listen, for 7 years now, I've been talking about a single topic, agency. And listen, this is not gonna be one of those videos because the truth is, you don't want to hear about it anymore. And you have a very valid reason for that. You see, over the last year, I've realized that most people watching my videos, they don't want to just make $10,000 a month. You know, it's a bit insensitive for me to sit in my $600,000 Rolls Royce or film these YouTube videos with a $350,000 watch on and talk to you about teaching you how to make your first $10,000 a month. Because I've realized that is not the extent of your ambition. At the end of the day, at $10,000 a month, you're not going to be chartering private jets, buying your friends Lamborghinis, or asking people what color their Bugatti is. So that's why I've decided to take a different route. To stop talking about what you don't want to hear and start talking about one thing. The one thing that will not only make you $10,000 a month, but it also has the potential to scale to buy your mom a house money. Because let's be real here. It's not about the cars. It's not about traveling the world. Anyone can travel the world or lease supercars. That doesn't prove shit. A real man handles his business. Your mom needs a new house? Done. Your parents are still working? Well, you just retire them for the rest of their lives. There's a tragedy in your family. You are the one who handles it without even considering the cost. That is what it is about. So if you want to make so much money that the next 3 generations of your family are sorted, well then I have news for you. This is what this one thing will allow you to do. And by the way, what I'm going to show you today, it doesn't matter if you have an agency, a plumbing business, if you apply what you learn, it will 10x your business. You see, because in today's video, I'm not convincing you on a business model. I'm not going to tell you to do a specific business model. Whatever business you're in, you can 10x it. I'm going to be exposing in excruciating detail and showing you guys the thing that the top entrepreneurs, including myself, we all focus. And it's not about the business. It's so much bigger than that. So as I said, if you're an agency owner, if you're a personal trainer, if you're dead broke in college, it doesn't matter. Watch this video. It will 10x your business. It will 10x your life. It will scratch that. It will 100x your life. This is it. This is what the top dogs are doing. While everyone else is focusing on the little optimization and crumbs here, you're missing the thing. And in case you're just starting out and you have nothing yet to sell, with this, you'll go from I have nothing to sell to give me a computer with internet access and I will print millions. So let's get into it. Whether you love them or hate them, there is no denying the influence that they have online, and that some of them are making tens of millions of dollars with this. But how do they actually make all this money? First, what you need to understand is the biggest mistake people make here when trying to figure out how these individuals all make so much money. You see, there's this big misconception that it's about what they sell or what's the best business model, and the truth is, it doesn't really matter what they sell. You can make millions of dollars with e-com. You can make millions of dollars with agency. You can make millions of dollars starting a landscaping business. Just like any industry, there's gonna be people who scale to tens of millions of dollars, and there's gonna be people who can barely get by. It is the same in every single industry you look at. And it's not the thing that you sell that sets apart the ultra-rich millionaires from the ones who are struggling to make minimum wage. What they sell is not the one thing that makes them successful. You are looking at it from the wrong perspective here. You're playing checkers when we're playing chess. You see, Creating wealth is not about what industry you're in. Creating wealth is about having a competitive advantage over everyone else. So that way, they can't win. You have rigged the system. You have stacked the chips in your favor. It doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent, an agency owner, whatever industry you are in. If you understand and apply this correctly, you are going to be a millionaire. Now, you're probably wondering, what is that competitive advantage? Well, if you really look into what these ultra-rich online millionaires do, you're gonna notice something. Their paradigm to making money is very different than the average guy. And what I mean by that, the way that they work is very different. Everything they work on is on building an asset that can never be taken away from them. It does not matter if the US dollar collapses. It doesn't matter if there's a war. It doesn't matter if there's a recession. It doesn't matter who the president is. They focus on building the most powerful asset that has ever been available to man. Because once it is built, you are set up for the rest of your life. There is no insurance policy on earth that will ever come close to this. And that creates something called leverage. And this is what most people fail to understand. These individuals, they don't trade their time for money. And that's exactly why myself and all these other ultra-rich online millionaires are financially rewarded at a scale that is unfathomable to the average person. You see, right now, most people are stuck in a paradigm of trading time for money. And maybe that's you. Or even if you're not there yet, you're most likely working towards a career where you're gonna end up trading your time for money. And not that there's anything wrong with it, but these online millionaires work on a completely different paradigm. They are playing chess, you are still playing checkers. It is called leveraged work. So when you look at me and all of these other online millionaires and wonder, how come this guy makes so much money, even though it feels like I'm always working 10 times harder than him? This is why. You probably do work 10 times harder, but I have something called leverage and you don't. And that's why, even if I work 1/10 of the time that you work, my output is still gonna be 1,000 times higher than yours for every hour that I put in, because my work is leveraged work. So if you wanna be truly rich, there are two things you need to understand. The first is the 3 types of leverage, and the second is the money equation that the ultra rich use to create wealth. Listen, I'm gonna keep it very real with you. People our age are not supposed to build wealth this quickly, but yet how are these people shortcutting this path to achieving in their early 20s what successful people used to only achieve in their late 60s? To understand how all these people got rich, you need to understand how money is created in the modern economy. This is how millionaires are made. And there's really 3 ways. There are 3 leverages that people have used to become wildly successful, because these are the only types of leverage that are scalable. They are not tied to the amount of time that you put in directly. And all of these online millionaires take advantage of one of them specifically. And this allows them to make 10, 50, 100 times more money with minimal extra effort. So in simple terms, they make exponentially more money without having to work more. The first type of leverage is capital. And what I mean by that, quite simply, is just money. You can deploy money to generate more money. You can make money work for you through investments, businesses, lending, all without requiring your direct time or effort. And if you think about it, all the old generations of billionaires, the ones who are in their 90s, they all got rich by taking advantage of this leverage. Look at Warren Buffett, George Soros, Ray Dalio. In fact, if you Google how did George Soros get rich, this is what it comes back with. He was a master at translating broad brush economic trends into highly leveraged plays in bonds and currencies. You notice how Google even used the word leverage. They all used capital as their leverage to create and multiply wealth. Now, this type of leverage has a pretty obvious problem to it. You already have to have millions in cash, liquid, sitting in your bank account to use this kind of leverage. So quite frankly, this is not the type of leverage that's available to 99% of you watching. So because of that, let's move on to the next one. You see, the second type of leverage is code. That is software, automation, technology. And this is extremely powerful because once written, code can run repeatedly without additional effort. So it allows you to build products or services that can scale with minimal incremental cost. I'll give you an example. You could build a tool or software once and then serve millions of users with minimal ongoing effort. This is the leverage that created the current generation of billionaires. Look at Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and even Elon Musk made his fortune through a software company called PayPal. They all created a competitive advantage by leveraging code. The billionaires of today leveraged code. Now, there's just a small issue with this. In order to take advantage of this leverage, you need to be a developer or an engineer with decades of experience, which 99.9% of us aren't. So in that case, you need to hire a team of developers like I do at my software companies. The problem is, this is extremely difficult and expensive. So again, this is not a leverage that's available for 99% of you watching. Now, the next generation of billionaires will not be created using any of those kinds of leverage. No, the game of code and capital is outdated. Don't believe me? Just look at these very smart guys. They're all shifting their focus. Up until a few years ago, you would hardly ever see or hear anything from Mark Zuckerberg directly. But in the last 12 months, we've seen him go on podcasts, attend UFC events, collaborate with YouTubers, train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, we even saw him wakeboarding on the back of a boat while drinking a beer and holding an American flag. You think that's just random? That he simply decided he's just gonna post a few more pictures on Instagram? No, that was very, very intentional. I'm telling you right now, all of those social media stunts, they had meetings for months to plan those. That little candid photo he took and posted on Instagram with a beer, him and his team sat in a boardroom and reviewed that for hours and hours. It was all incredibly intentional. Why? Because he knows that the money equation has just changed, and the next generation of billionaires will not be created from what they're currently doing by leveraging code or capital. Rather, it will be by using this third type of leverage. And it's by taking advantage of this type of leverage that all of these ultra-rich young entrepreneurs literally shortcutted their way to success at such a young age, because they all know that there is one thing that is the most powerful way to create a competitive advantage in 2025. There is a new best way to make money in this new economy. This is the new money equation. So here's the money equation. What you do, how valuable the thing you do is, and how many people know what you do. You see, it's very simple. If you're only good at what you do, you're never truly gonna get rich. It's not only about being good, it's about how many people know how good you are. It doesn't matter how much you work or even how good you are at what you do. And to be clear, I'm not saying be bad at what you do. You should strive to be the greatest at whatever you decide to do. But if you wanna be rich, you must understand this. Only being good is not enough, not even close. It's about how many people know how good you are. And this is what this third type of leverage allows you to do. So if you want to do the one thing that I did to become successful and still do to this day to fuel my multiple 8-figure businesses, this is it. It doesn't matter what you sell. You will make 10 times, 100 times, even 1,000 times more if you have this one thing. It's like playing life on easy mode. This is the one thing that can take you from 0 to 10,000, 100,000, a million, even 10 million a year. This is the one thing that you will build today that will keep paying dividends 1, 2, 5, 10, 30 years from now. The one thing that will get you quit your job money, but also private jet money. This is the one thing that will get you to places that money alone can't buy. And that's something that I'm not really talking about too much in this event, but this one thing goes so much further than money. In fact, there are multi-billionaires that are now focusing on this one thing because they have the money equation sorted more than enough, but they know that they still need this one thing to live the life of their dreams. That is how powerful this is. This is the one thing I used to sign my first client, start my first business, launch a clothing company, launch an eyewear brand, launch a sports drink, an e-learning platform, a mobile app, a software company. This is the one thing that every one of these new ultra-rich online millionaires are doing and have in common. So, what is this one thing? Well, instead of me telling you the answer, you tell me. Just look around. What is the one thing that everyone who's successful has in common these days? Myself, Patrick Bet-David, Alex Hormozi, Ryan Serhant, anyone at the top level in any industry online these days, what do they all have in common? What is the leverage that all of us use? You already know, because it's the very thing you're consuming right now. This third leverage is content. And this one doesn't even require explanation. You know what content is. YouTube videos, shorts, reels, podcasts, blogs, LinkedIn posts, tweets, and so on. This is the most powerful leverage of 2025. It doesn't matter what you do, what you sell, what industry you're in. When you use this third leverage with a single video, you can get millions of people to listen to you without needing direct interaction. I have one YouTube video that directly put $20 million in my pocket. A single video. Do you understand how insane that is? With content leverage, you can go from selling 1-to-1 to selling 1 to millions. And there is no bigger leverage than that. That's why myself, Hormozi, Patrick Bet-David, Ryan Serhant, any of these people, we all use content as a leverage to create a strong personal brand ourselves. We have all established a personal brand. This is the most powerful thing that you can create for yourself in 2025. A personal brand is the one thing. It is the one thing that everyone who's successful today has in common. I mean, just look around you. Every single one of these ultra-rich online millionaires has a successful personal brand. You know why? Because when you have a big personal brand, you can do everything wrong and you're still gonna be rich. It doesn't matter what you do or what you sell. When you have a strong personal brand, success becomes inevitable. It's like buying real estate 50 years ago. It doesn't matter where you bought it, what were the conditions, what location. If you bought a ton of real estate 50 years ago, even if you did everything wrong, you would still be a multi-millionaire today. And this is the exact same thing with a personal brand. Building a personal brand today is like buying real estate 50 years ago. I mean, just look around you. The signs are everywhere. There are people who are younger than you, dumber than you, less capable than you, all making millions with this. And on top of that, everyone who's already successful is going all in on their personal brands. I mean, why do you think Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, just purchased Twitter? It's not because he wants to post some funny memes. He simply knows the power that comes with such influence, with such personal brand. He knows that it will 10 to 100x the value of the work that he does at Tesla, at SpaceX, at Starlink. I mean, why do you think Donald Trump went on all of those popular podcasts close to election time? Joe Rogan, Nelt Podcast, even Theo Vaughn. What is a politician doing on a comedian's podcast? Well, he knows that it builds up his personal brand. It solidifies his image and amplifies all of his actions. Personal brands now win presidential elections.
The Nelt Boys, Aiden Ross, Theo Vaughn, and last but not least, the mighty and powerful Joe Rogan.
They dictate the entire future of nations. Cristiano Ronaldo just created a YouTube channel, the fastest YouTube channel to hit 50 million subscribers. Why do you think he did that? Because he knows that with a personal brand like that, his sponsorship, his salary, his investments, everything he does is worth 100 times more. I mean, just look at UFC. Who are the best paid fighters? It's not the best fighters in the octagon. Conor McGregor lost his last 2 fights against Dustin Poirier and still made 10 times what Dustin did or ever will do. Why? Because his personal brand is worth at least 10 times more. And most importantly, he made 10 times more money outside of the UFC than he made in the UFC. He got $5 million for a fight in the UFC, then he got paid $100 million to fight Floyd in a boxing match, and then he created a whiskey brand and got paid $500 million for selling his brand. How did he manage to do all of that? By leveraging his personal brand. The truth is, how good you are at what you do has virtually no correlation with your income. So if you focus only on being good at what you do, you will never get rich, and that is a fact. Again, you need leverage, and the best leverage, the one thing that has the potential of changing your career and making 2025 the biggest year of your life, the year that everything changes for you, is building a personal brand. If you had to choose on doing one thing and one thing only in 2025, building a personal brand will be the one with by far the highest impact on your career and your financial situation. Now, remember I mentioned at the beginning of this video how these ultra-rich online entrepreneurs have collectively made over $1 billion? Well, this is actually not even 1/100th the total size of this market. Let me illustrate to you how big this market truly is. You say you want to make millions, so let this circle represent $1 million. This is what $10 million would look like. This is what $100 million would look like. And this is what $1 billion would look like. The personal brand economy is currently a $250 billion industry. That is 250 times this number, and it's projected to double to $480 billion by 2028. Just so you understand how big this is, the global music industry is worth $70 billion. That's including world tours and streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music. The fashion retail industry is $400 billion. This includes online and offline sales. The film and television industry is $250 billion. That includes TV and streaming platforms. And the global sports industry is $500 billion. That includes media rights, sponsorships, merchandising, and live events. I mean, just think about it. The top 5 biggest companies in the world, what do they all do? They fuel this personal brand economy. Apple creates the devices like iPhone, iPads, and computers. Nvidia creates the graphics cards those devices use. Microsoft creates the operating system for computers. Google creates the social media platforms that fuel the personal brand economy. You've got Meta, which also creates the social media platforms that fuel the personal brand economy. Everything points in that direction. Now, most people call it the creator economy. I prefer to call it the personal brand economy, because who are the individuals who win in the creator economy? The ones who have a personal brand. And most importantly, the internet made leverage of content democratic. You don't need to have a ton of money or a huge team behind you to stand out. You just need a phone and to post a few stories. And I'm going to prove that to you. So now let's talk about how you too can take advantage of the same system that the ultra-rich online millionaires do. Listen, I have all types of people watching me. I have beginners watching me. I have people who are making $10,000 a month watching me. I have people who are multi-millionaires watching me. And what I realize is the majority of what I've been saying has been focused on the guy that's just starting out and wants to make his first few bucks. But by doing that, I left out a majority of people. So listen, if you want to make $10,000 a month with the least headaches possible, stick to an agency. I've been saying this for almost 8 years now, and I still stand by my word. Now, something else is also true. $10,000 a month will not provide you with the kind of lifestyle that you see these people living. And we both know that you don't want to hear me talk about agency anymore. You want me to talk about what I do to actually afford a Rolls Royce, to afford buying my mom a $4 million house cash. And most importantly, you want to know how I do it. You have been asking for something different. You've been asking for a different type of content. So that is what I'm going to give you. And to do that, I need to be very blunt with you right now. You want to know the real reason you're not rich? And you will never be if you keep going down the same route. Because you're invisible. It's very simple. He who isn't seen isn't remembered. If you're not remembered, people won't buy from you. If you're not remembered, people won't do business with you. You're not gonna get that client. You're not gonna get that promotion. You're not gonna get that dream job. You only achieve the things that you wanna achieve when you're seen and remembered. If you're not seen, you're gonna be indefinitely stuck in that mediocre job that just pays the bill, but won't get you anywhere in life. You're gonna be indefinitely stuck as someone who, is very good at what they do, but isn't getting paid accordingly. The evidence is simply irrefutable. It is so aggressively in your face. Building a personal brand, no matter what you do, whether you're an agency owner, a personal trainer, a freelancer, a hairdresser, a business owner, a sales rep, it doesn't matter who you are. Any person right now, it doesn't matter what you do. If you build a personal brand, it will be the best thing you do all year. It will be the best thing you do this entire decade. It's not learning how to code, it's not sales, it's not AI, it's not getting into crypto. Even Ray Dalio, the founder of the largest hedge fund in the world, has a YouTube channel where he posts videos multiple times a week. Why? Because he has a book, and he knows that the best way to boost the sales of his book is through a personal brand. He used his personal brand to get over 50 million views on a 40-minute long video that's nothing more than what we call in the marketing world a video sales letter. And that sends people to buy his book. And by the way, I have his entire personal brand strategy dissected in excruciating detail in the dissertation that I'm gonna send to you at the end of this video. And with this structure, he sold over 5 million copies of his books. And for 54 weeks in a row, he stayed in the top 20 most read books on Amazon. That is the power of a personal brand. If even the founder of the largest hedge fund in the world, who's worth over $14 billion, knows that he needs to build a personal brand, what makes you think that you sitting there watching this doesn't need one? As I said, no matter who you are in the world, I don't care if you make $100 million a year or $100 a year, wherever you are in that scale, the best thing you can do in 2025 is to build a personal brand. If you are gonna start making money online, the best thing that you can do is build an audience online, a personal brand, even if you don't have anything to sell yet. Because when you build an audience, you have social leverage. And with social leverage, you can sell any product or service that you want. And by the way, if you want, you don't even need to create a business. You can just be an affiliate for businesses. Now, if you have an existing business or you work with clients, you will never have to worry about customer acquisition again. This is how you stop being invisible. This is the one thing that every single person watching this, no matter who you are, that if you apply, will make sure that 2025 is the biggest year that you have ever had. So let me remind you once again, the difference between you and me is not that I'm smarter or I work harder. The difference is that I have a personal brand and you don't. I have leverage and you don't. I have the one thing and you don't. So look, here's how you use your personal brand like all of the ultra-rich young entrepreneurs do to make millions of dollars every single year or even every single month. Now, the first misconception we need to clear here is this. You don't need millions of followers. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. The ones who actually make the most money per follower are not the big influencers with millions of audience. No. The ones that make the most money per follower are the ones with what I call micro personal brands. That is, small personal brands with a few thousand followers that talk about very niche content. There's people with 10,000 followers who are pulling in 6, multi-6, and even 7 figures a year. Now, with as little as 1,000 followers, you can already make a full-time income through your personal brand when you apply the methods that I'm gonna teach you inside of episode 3. That's because we focus on attracting potential customers and not just simply followers. There's people making $2, $5, $10, even $20 per follower. I've seen upwards of $80, but that's an extreme example. I'll give you one of my own examples. A few years ago, I published a video that was a sales video. It did just shy of $2 million that week with around 180,000 views. Now, I know that those numbers might sound unrealistic at first, but let's do this. Just think about if I were just to cut 1 0 out of those numbers. So instead of 180,000 views, 18,000 views. You would have made $200,000 for a single video. And 18,000 views is very achievable. Now, here's the interesting part. A few years later, I published another sales video. This one in particular got 1 million views instead of 180,000 views, 5 times more. But it made exactly the same amount, $2 million that week. You know why that happened? Because platforms have a metric they use to judge the quality of your audience base. They call it RPM. The RPM is how much advertisers are willing to pay for every 1,000 views on the ads that run on those videos. And when you have a micro personal brand, the platforms reward you with insanely high RPMs. The RPM on the video that got 180,000 views was $52. The RPM on the one with 1 million views was $11. So even though I was reaching 5 times more people, the buying potential of that audience was 5 times less. So at the end of it, I made the exact amount of money even though I got 5 times the amount of views, which means that as long as you focus on attracting a small but qualified audience, you can make as much money, if not even more, than the guys with millions of followers. Now, just so you understand, this RPM should never be your main revenue source. That's just what YouTube pays you in AdSense. And to be honest, it's not much money at all in comparison to the bigger game. You should just use this number to measure the quality of your personal brand and how monetizable it is. Then, you should always use your personal brand to sell your own products or services because that will pay you 100 times more. Now, episode 3 is going to be all about how to actually monetize your micro personal brand, so no need to worry about that just yet. With what you're going to learn there, you're going to shift from I have nothing to sell to give me a computer with internet access and I will make millions. What you need to know for now is that it's never been easier to monetize a personal brand. You have kids making anywhere from a few $1,000s a month to hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on the most random niche topics ever. Raw food, looks maxing, vertical jump training, woodworking, clothing brands, AI automation. So if you don't have a business, this is the best place to start. And if you already have a business or something to sell, this is how you scale it to the next level. With this stack, you can make $20,000 a month or you can make $20 million a year. Sky is the limit. Now, whatever you do and whatever revenue level you're at, the end goal here is exactly the same: to create a brand that allows you to sell whatever you want, whenever you want. If you have a strong personal brand like this, you will never have to worry about money ever again, because creating a personal brand is future-proofing your career. They say that AI is going to take over 300 million jobs from people. What's the one thing it can never take away from you? Your personal brand. In a world where most skills can be replaced, this is the one thing that can never be taken away from you. Now, if you want to take advantage of this leverage to stop being invisible and create your own micro personal brand, you need to start right now. It's very simple. Buying Bitcoin now won't make you rich. Buying it in 2015 would have. So you don't need to wait until 2028 to see that you've missed another opportunity. If you want to reach full potential by 2028, when this market hits a market cap of $480 billion a year and surpasses all of the other industries that create today's celebrities, singers, actors, pro athletes, you need to start preparing today. To take full advantage of them, you need to be positioned in the right place before the big wave comes in. So you have to start doing it now. By the time mainstream figures start talking about this, it's already too late. You want to start now while it's easy to grow and there's still endless amounts of untapped niches to explore. So here's my plan for you to start doing that this week already. In the next 2 episodes, I'm going to show you how to rapidly acquire your first few thousand followers and how to monetize your personal brand. This is going to be hardcore step-by-step training. Very different from what you're used to seeing on my channel and from the style of this first episode. I'm going to give you my full framework on how to build a personal brand-driven business. Episode 2 is going to be all about how to start your personal brand from zero. It goes live on Wednesday at 4 p.m. EST. Now, I'll first reveal the strategies your favorite influencers are using to attract an audience that allows them to print millions of dollars. And then I'm going to give you the step-by-step on how to rapidly acquire your first few thousand followers in the next 12 weeks, starting from zero. Episode 3 will be on how to monetize your personal brand. Let's not just get you followers. Let's make sure you know how to monetize your personal brand better than anyone else. This one goes live on Friday at 4 p.m. And I'm going to share my unique method on how to monetize your personal brand so that way you can make 6 figures with as little as 10,000 followers. With this, you're going to shift from I have nothing to sell to give me a computer with internet access and I will make millions. Now, this strategy can be used by anyone to sell anything online. And then I'm going to show you how to make your first online sale even if you have no audience, and then go from your first sale to consistent sales. This is the same method I have used to sell over $108 million through my own personal brand. Finally, episode 4 will be all about the tools you need to monetize, because it's not enough to simply find oil. You need the tools to extract and process it. I'm going to give you the tools to make a few $100s a month or a few $1 million a month. And by the way, no, I'm not going to be selling you a course. So it is essential that you show up live to the premiere of this one. It goes live next Monday at 4 p.m. EST. So make sure you have already turned on the notifications for all of the episodes here on YouTube by clicking the little bell icon so that way you don't miss out. Now, As an act of appreciation for you watching this entire video, I want to send you the 20-page dissertation breaking down the strategies that these ultra-rich online entrepreneurs have used to grow their brand from scratch and scale to millions. Now, I'm going to drop this file inside of the official WhatsApp group for this event a few hours after this episode goes live. So make sure that if you're not in the official group, you join it by registering. I'll leave a link down below, because once you do, you're going to get access to the group, and I'm going to be posting the dissertation inside of the group. Now, with all that being said, if you thought that this episode was insightful, just wait for the that I'm going to give you, the plug and plays, the templates, the free resource, everything that I'm going to expose, the entire web, the entire system that I'm going to give you if you show up live on Wednesday at 4 p.m. EST for the premiere of episode 2. The tools and resources that I've prepared and will be giving to you will blow your mind. And with that said, as always, I'm watching from afar and I'm rooting for you.